Good Monday afternoon, my valued viewers. It's a sales roundup day on Monday. I know I didn't do one last week because, quite honestly, my sales were shit again. They were very good. I had 17 sales and about 12 of them were video games. So things are better this week. My plan to list larger items did work, and I've sold some larger items, which has improved my sales figure. But this is the smallest item I've ever sold, I think, that's actually been posted out. It's actually, if you click the next picture as well, 265, 6 green plastic sticks and 6 orange plastic sticks. There were 7 of those. I sent them the extra. Out of a Kaplunk. The Kaplunk cost £1.50 in the charity shop, but it was missing some of the balls. Now I looked up how much the parts were to replace the balls. Cost much more than the actual Kaplunk, or selling the whole Kaplunk on its own. So selling the parts is where it's at. There's a picture of the Kaplunk down there, incomplete, but I actually sold those bits. Anyway, both of them together added up to £5.30, but they got a discount for buying more than one item off the same listing, £4.77. Fees and postage come to £2.28, which paid for the box of all the parts. So now, actually I've already sold one previously as well. Now, any parts I sell is 100% profit. This is what I was talking about with when I said multiple parts listings, like selling the parts for the hot wires. If you have a listing that's not going to disappear, you can put promotions on that listing at a lower level or even at a higher level, and you don't need promotions on the other listings as long as you put advertising in that listing to drag people into your shop. Or you could actually put, which is what I'm hoping to get onto this week, a banner top and bottom in the listing, in the description, like all the Chinese firms. Well, I investigated on how the Chinese firms do it, and there's Chinese promotional firms that will rent you the software to do it, software as a service. However, if you wanted to do it with, say, an American firm or even an English firm that advertises in America, like, say, Fruition, which I used to be with, by the way, when I was retailing, I had Fruition do my listings, graphics, and it had a rotating banner of other items I also sold at the top and bottom, and columns where you could click it to see what else I sold. Here there would be items, other categories, shop categories. Here there'd be a banner at the top which was rotating, and if you put your mouse over it, it stopped. You could then click on the item. Yeah, the graphics rendering from Fruition was brilliant. And then there was another banner down here with a showcase of 5 related items. Well, the Chinese one, it's not as sophisticated, I've got to say. It's fixed these days. They don't let you have the JavaScripts on eBay pages anymore, not like they did in 2013, where the animations were accepted, and if you put your mouse over it, it could turn into a mouse literally on screen, or a bigger arrow, and then if you hovered over something, you'd get a why not click. All that sort of JavaScript stuff that used to be in Web 2.0 that was allowed, and all the big websites started getting rid of when people put user-generated content in. All you could do was type in black and white what you wanted to say, instead of hosting your own page, like internal scripts, which I used to do all the time. Anyway, they do run scripts for trusted partners, very much like Fruition, if you want to look them up. But I found one in China, which is You have to wade through the Chinese website and do the translate and all that. But it's free for the first 200 a month. It's free for the first 200 a month. My favourite price is free. But because it's for Chinese websites, it's $10 a month. If you want to go into the paid, $10, which maybe it's about £7.50 these days, isn't it? £7.60. I can cope with that. And what you get is a banner at the top, and you could probably put it at the bottom as well, with 5 or 6 and maybe 2 deep of your own hosted graphics. And if you click on them, they go through to your own eBay listings, right? With a little description title underneath of each one, which is also a link through. So something that's popular, maybe not this isn't as popular, but say for instance you're selling something small you bought in from AliExpress, Alibaba, or that you've bought from another seller, or you've got a lot of that's popular, people are going to look up. You can put a banner top and bottom. Anyway, I'll move on and I'll tell you more about that in a minute. Next, £8.64 for this. This was a SATA hard disk adapter. I've told you about them before. If you have a spare hard drive, but you don't want to put it into a case because you're going to sell it as a hard drive, you can plug this in, this one here. If it's 2.5 inch, that's all you need, because it's got enough power in this little part here. That's the power, that's the data. If it's got enough power in it to run a 2.5 inch hard disk. If you want a 3.5 inch, you need extra power. So you get yourself a adapter and you plug it in the back. And you can just leave it lying on your desk. You can't really see that there, can you? I can't really expand it up on this graphics thing. Basically, you just leave it lying on your desk. You power it up through the power supply and you plug that into your laptop, your Mac, whatever, USB 3. Very fast. And you can format and clear the disk. Check it with your Crystal Disk software, which is a free disk download. You can download that off the internet to disk check your software onto the hard drive. You don't put it on the hard drive, you put it on your own computer. But you check your hard drive, you clear it off, you format it. You can then sell it as an empty hard drive. So these are quite popular for people who have lots of empty hard drives or have no memory space on their laptop, like myself. So I have one. But mine's permanently attached to my Mac because I've got a 2 terabyte hard drive attached to the Mac for doing things like videos. And for storage, storing videos, editing. Every time I do an edit, it updates the hard drive and backs it up to there, which is great, which means I don't need as much memory on the Mac, and the Mac was cheaper. £8.64. These, I bought some in from AliExpress. So I've got quantity 1 there, but I've bought another 5 in. These are the sort of thing that hundreds of people a month might look for. So if you price it competitively, this is the sort of thing where I'm going to have a banner at the top and bottom of the listing, the description. You know how when you look at something on eBay, let's go out of this for a second. Can we do that? You're on eBay. Oh, you would be if your internet was working. There we go. Right, you go to advanced. There we go. And we'll click in for what was that last thing? HDD adapter, wasn't it? HD adapter, 2.5 inch, 3.5 inch. So there's one similar. There's one with the two plugs. One will be for the power supply. But mine's not in there. It should be. Anyway, here's one, £8.39. Now, if you remember, mine was £8.64. But it doesn't have a power supply, this one. These here, with the fast shipping, UK, there's a picture of an airplane there. So I'm assuming that means it's sent from China. Here's one with an adapter. Right, so this is my competition, £8.49. Now I got £8.64 for mine with a UK plug. There you are. Same exact thing. When you click on, to look at that, you've got your pictures, yeah? But right underneath where the person's advertising, on the page they paid for adverts by eBay for other people's stuff. They know a banner with pictures works on the web space, don't they? They know that. Why wouldn't we use it? And right underneath that picture is customers ultimately bought. That's like saying these are better value than the one we're advertising on the page that somebody's paid for. You've got other pictures. You've got the one from China, new business converter, 864, postage 233 sold. This one's got 246 sold. Oh, sorry. I'm pointing with my mouse and my mouse is too small on this. 233 sold. This one's got 246 sold. This one's got 29 sold. UK fast delivery, USB 3. I can read that. You can read it probably from this distance. UK stock. By the way, the advertising I've got, I think it has that picture. It has like a UK fast shipping bit on it. That's why I can say it. None of these are mine. But then he's just got write-ups and graphics hosted on the page. Let me see what the image is on that. He's using eBay's own web space to host that picture. Oh no, he isn't. No, I tell a lie. He's using AliExpress web space. That's an AliExpress web space picture. Yeah, it's come up with a little graphic. So he's actually using somebody else's web space to link that. Yeah. Anyway, what I was going to say is, you see all these graphics pictures here and the descriptions and the price. The Chinese firm, and there is plenty of American and English ones that do it, but they're not that cheap. They have the same graphics, or very similar, here in the description. Item description from the seller. And you've got a banner with like 6 or 8 pictures or 5 pictures wide, 2 pictures deep before the graphics start, before the description actually starts. Yeah. Of other things that seller sells. So you can put other things from the same seller as though it was an eBay graphic. Use their title, use their font. Who cares, right? You can even use their pictures hosted on eBay and their links back to the eBay pages of those items. Hopefully that means that the person, if they're not interested in the thing they're looking at, they'll click on that one instead, and it'll open a new web page for them. Because that's what happens when you click on an eBay page advertisement. It doesn't close that page and open a new one. It just opens another tab, leaving that tab open so you can go back and still buy that. Very similar to what I'm selling, but it doesn't have a power supply. SATA 3, because it's got the blue end. £4.99. I can guarantee you that came from somebody like AliExpress. So anyway, that's a strategy I'm thinking, well, I am planning to do now. Well, I'll show you. You see, I've got a microphone there. By the way, you might have noticed I'm in a grey t-shirt. And the reason is, one, all my laundry's being done. And two, it's absolutely boiling hot, sunny day. I've been outside a bit and black just isn't cutting it. It's bad enough sweating now, aren't I? It's bad enough in here in this sauna I laughingly call a garage. Okay, let me just do something with these lights. It was looking a bit dark. It still is, isn't it? Doesn't matter, I'm going to run it anyway because you can see the TV very well in this light. Back where I was. So, £8.64. And I thought, great, I've made money today on this particular item. Nope. I mean, I should have done. Yeah, don't get me wrong. They came in at a small profit at £8.64. Not huge. But as I said to you, these aren't to make a huge profit on. They're to drag people into my shop to sell them other things. I'll make a little bit. Don't get me wrong, I'll make a little bit. As I said to you, microphone there, I got that from AliExpress. It's a twin mic set. I'll show you. And it comes in a little box, in a little bag, with its own little charger box. Just like earphones get a charger box. There's a bit for the microphone, a bit for the connector, which plugs into the USB-C, and a bit for the second microphone. There's a second microphone. And then it'll tell you what the charge rate is on the box, 71%. And obviously that only stays on while it's charging or while it's connected. And a charging port for the box. And what you get is a little charging cable as well. So these are retailing for about anywhere from £16 to £18 for a set. I'm hoping to maybe undercut that by maybe a couple of quid and sell these. Very popular, these. So anyway, I bought some more, and some more have arrived today because I wanted to test it out first. So I've got a load more, and they'll be going on in the next couple of days. Same sort of advertising, very clean, very crisp. Maybe use some of the pictures from the supplier. You don't have to go overboard because they give some really nice pictures, but some of them need editing because they've got like either Chinese script or badly worded phrases on them. I'm very surprised they don't have people who speak perfect English working on these things. Anyway, the reason I was saying I should have made money on this is because last week somebody bought a Rubik's Cube and I sent this guy a Rubik's Cube. Yeah. It was actually the last thing of the week before sold, £7.98 for a Rubik's Cube. It only cost me 50p or £1. So I made some money on that. But when he sent me back saying, "You've sent me a hard drive adapter with a plug," I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'll give you the money back. Minus £7.98. Fair enough. But that meant that the guy who'd bought the hard drive adapter with the plug and his £8.64, he didn't get his adapter with the plug. He got a Rubik's Cube. I told him to throw it away or try and do it. It's up to him. I said to him, "Look, I'm very sorry. What do you want me to do? I can either refund you or I can send you another one." Because as I say, I'm buying multiples. So anyway, 0.00 for the guy who bought the Rubik's Cube. All I could do, I couldn't do anything with him. It was in another part of the country. I'm not even allowed to tell him the name and address of the person who's bought it, or the person who's bought it, the name and address of where to send it to. I just refunded it. It's 50p or £1 to me, really, minus the postage, which was about £2.94. Fair enough. So I lost about, I don't know, £3.50 on that one. But because I had to send this guy a second one out, I lost all the profit on that as well. And another £3.50 for the postage. So between the two of them, I lost about £7. Not worth worrying about. But there you go. You F up, you have to fix it. And the best way of fixing it is to, as soon as you find out, confess, say sorry, fix it for both of them immediately. And that's what I did. So yeah, my earnings on the original one, £1.44. But that's not including buying the goods. And there was two of them, don't forget. So next, anyway, you learn by your mistakes. It's a long time since I've done the switcheroo on the labels. It was from wrapping 6 or 7 things at the same time and making a mistake over which one was in which box. Normally, when I wrap something, I write on the box immediately. And it hadn't happened. I'd done it wrong. Hands up, both of them. There you go. You just move on, don't you? £4.25. I'm not going to make any money back on this. That cost me, I don't know, £1 or £1 discounted because I bought a bundle. I think I bought 16 for £10, but some of them were 25 pence, 30 pence, 50 pence games, like Xbox 360 games and stuff. 3 months ago. Anyway, it's sold. £4.25. There's £1.65 postage on that. Could be £1.80. I can't remember. And obviously an envelope. So what do I make? £1, maybe? No, maybe only 75p. There's fees as well. There's fees and maybe £1.19 in costs off that. So what does that leave me? £1.25. Maybe I made 50 pence. This was nice. I bought this and a battery. And this is odd because this is what happened. Somebody bought this and then they cancelled. By the way, I'm not putting the big cancellations in with the 000 anymore. All I'm doing, because I'm getting larger items, that would boost up the sales figures. Ridiculous. If I get larger items, then I have to cancel them. But eBay considers it a sale figure. So what I'm doing is I'm deleting them as soon as they've been refunded and taking them out of the archiving them. That's what they call it now, don't they? They archive the actual sales thing, and it doesn't affect your sales figure. So that I know that at the end of the week, the sales figure is actually what I sold. Okay. £27.74. That's a discounted price from something like £34. I actually sold it at £34 on an offer. And then they came back and cancelled within about 10 minutes of buying it. Fair enough. People do that. And this is the reason these offers are not as good as you think they are. I told you in the last video, it's percolated down to me that when you accept an offer, the offer comes off the person's card and you're paid for it immediately. But then if they don't really want it and they're only offering to I don't know, 5 other people as well, they cancel, which is, they're allowed to cancel within 14 days. But they did it as soon as they got notification on the phone that they'd made a sale, that they'd bought something, that their offer had been accepted. So then they cancel immediately. And it takes 5 minutes to come through. And then I refunded them immediately and relisted it. Fair enough. Anyway, it did sell. Yeah. But this and the battery that came with it, a drill battery that plugged into that side, not this side, that side. Yeah, it's got 2 sides, you see. That's why they're expensive, these. This is a genuine one. The brand new replacement ones are about £14, £15. But this is a genuine Milwaukee one. That includes postage as well. Just saying. So it's actually only about £23.50. I'm charging £4.20, so £23.54. Fair enough. Down from 30. All right, fine. Don't forget, battery and charger, £8. So that stands me at £4. So I'm quite happy with that. Next, £3.59. This is, see, when I'm going to be selling these for £16 or more, maybe even 18, who knows? They've cost me a few quid each. Well, up to £6.20 each, these. And I've other things as well. I bought not just these. I've got little cutting discs for Dremels. I've got those things. It's tie wrap strip. It's got hooks on one side and loops on the other. It actually says it's called round Velcro, but eBay won't let you say that. That's what it says on the back. Anyway, I have two different brands of those because these are dirt cheap. When you're filling in your orders with AliExpress, if you ever go on the websites, the first order, it's £3 postage, and then they put buy 2 other items and get free postage. So you buy 2 other items for 60p each. You spent £1.20, but you saved £3 on the postage. So you get your £1.20 you spend extra, and you save £3. So by buying these two, it's cost you £1.80 less to buy this. Explain that one to me. This and 2 of these cost less than 1 of these on its own. And the idea, of course, is to get you to buy more and more different items, which it works. Because this, I've already got some of these listed for £6. No, I'm not going to sell them at £6. I'm going to accept offers, obviously. Or I'm going to send offers out. But it will drag people in. I've got other things. Thumbsticks for controllers. Xbox 360 and PS4. And I've actually got some PS2 on order, I believe. Now, you know I often buy remote controls. Well, you can get remote controls from them. This isn't for one of the ones I've got waiting to get. This is for Smart TV. The number is just a long and complicated number. But these sell for about £15 when you can get it. What else? I got some small envelopes delivered as well. Obviously, that's not going to fit in a small envelope, but some of the smaller items will fit in one of these. And these, they're really feather light. They're not like the paper ones. They're feather light. What else have I got? A couple of other little things. Backs for Xbox 360 battery backs, white and black. They didn't have any green ones. I've got a green controller. I've been waiting for a green controller back for ages. Nobody's advertising them. More of these and a few of those. Anyway, you get the idea. There's one of these that's opened. I wanted to show you that. This is the one. So for the PS2, as you can see, a lot of it's gaming related. Because obviously I'm selling a lot of gaming related stuff. For the PS2, you can get these little memory card holders now. And you can put an SD card in that and use it to store games on. And then play them with what's known as an FMCB card. FCMB. No, it's FMCB. Free McBoot they call it, but it's not its MC memory card boot. So basically, it's a free piece of software, and you can boot software off it, if you like, off your memory card in your PS2, because it's been thoroughly hacked, the PS2 now. So if you have an FMCB card, Freemut boot card, you can plug this into the other card slot with an SD card. This is actually for a micro SD, this one. I've got both SDs and micro SDs, because then you can use these with your old SD cards that you don't use on your camera anymore, or because people have SD cards kicking around. I've got dozens of them. They've either got pictures or software or whatever, backups sometimes. I use hard drives now, but you can put your own stored games onto these. What I'm saying is, if you own the ISO file of a game that you already own in physical case, you don't need to keep using the disc. You can use this. Anyway, these sell over and over, and that's the beauty of having 10 of them. When you get down to 3 left, you just order some more. The advert carries on trickling out. You don't have to sell hundreds a week to make your money, because I don't need to. This is on top of what everything else I'm selling. But in the meantime, when people come to the advert, your listing, you've got a banner with pictures of other things you sell that are gaming related, like disc only multi-listing, Game Boy Advance games, PS3 games, whatever. Maybe on this one you'd have a range of PS2 games you're selling on the banner on the advertisement for this, because obviously people who are thinking about buying one of these have got a PS2. Makes sense, doesn't it? Anyway, I can price these competitively, but I don't have to be hugely competitive, because it's not like my living depends on them. They're there to drag people in from the eBay listing. Now I can promote these quite heavily. I can use the eBay promotion scheme to promote these quite heavily and then not make as much money on each one of these. I don't really worry too much about the profit margin. Obviously, I would like to make some money for the effort, but it's not like I have to go around the car boot on a Sunday to find these. I don't. You just go on the website and order them. Yeah. So the advert never runs out, and suddenly, well, over the months, you've seen them. Adverts where they've got 650 sales. Yeah. Obviously, I'm dragging this on a bit. Blood Curdling books, £26.90 including delivery. What I'm saying about those listings is, it's a way I used to, back when I was doing just retail, bring in hundreds of sales a week, because I had, I don't know, maybe 2,300 lines like that. Now, obviously, not every listing is going to make a sale every week, and some things you're going to lose money on. And some things you won't be able to find again when you go to the various different wholesalers. The beauty of the Chinese wholesalers is they do have large amounts of very similar items. So, for instance, if I want to sell one of these, but I want to sell it where you only have one microphone, not two, and you only have, and they're black, or the microphones are round, the listing's virtually identical. All you need to do is change a few keywords, buy different ones, list it. So yeah, this is an opportunity I've been thinking about going back into retail. Not entirely, but my sales haven't been good enough to live off really in the last year or so, really. In the small gaming sector, unless you're willing to put 65 hours a week in listing, and I'm not anymore. You know, I don't blame anybody who wants to, and there is good money to be made on individual listings. You know, what I want is to be able to do the good money individual listings and not to have to worry about bringing people to my shop. The individual items that I'm selling are all popular, and what I'm looking at when I'm buying these things isn't how much money you're going to make on each individual item. Say, for instance, I've invested £6 or £7 into one of these, but I'm only going to make £3 when I sell it. That's okay, because the effort involved is, once it's all set up, very little indeed. You pick an envelope out, maybe put a bit extra bubble wrap around it, bang it in the envelope, put a label on it. But for instance, I'll show you something that isn't that easy to wrap, which you will recognize later in the week's sales. This is half wrapped. Right? Half wrapped. It wants more bubble wrap, obviously, and then a layer of cardboard around everything, and then a rather large shaped box, or possibly two end on end with a hole in to hold it together, and lots of filler. Don't get me wrong, I'm going to make more on this than I would selling 5 of those. Yeah, but it's time consuming, and there's only so many hours in a week. When I was selling 450 things a week, it was all tiny little things like this. How long does it take to sell to wrap 10 of those? When I was saying to you, I'll make more money wrapping that than 5 or 6 of these. That's the one I'm using. That's mine. I'm keeping that one. 5 or 6 of these. These, it's going to take me 15 minutes, maybe a little bit longer with the paperwork, to wrap 10 of these, and 5 of these, and 2 of the other things. This, it's already taken me 3 or 4 minutes. By the time it's finished, it's going to be half an hour. Now, financially, it's worth it to me for half an hour's work. Don't get me wrong. I'll show you what it is in a minute. Anyway, this was a perfect example. This one actually took quite a long time of photographs, listing. It didn't cost me much, you know that. It's in my pickups a couple of weeks back. I got this, 3 or 4 power supplies, another train. This was the nicest. This was the one that got listed first, and it's obviously the one that sold first. And a couple of loose trucks. That's the word, isn't it? Trucks. Anyway, this one went for £90.60, which is nice. It unfortunately went to America. I'm not saying it's unfortunate for the fact that it's cultural drain, because I'm sure they sell Hornby stuff all over America already. Well, I know they do. But the sales figures don't lie. £90.60 was, it was £80 plus postage, plus a little bit, I can't remember what it was for, but it came to £90.60 to me, and 20 odd pound extra on top to them. And when I say 20 odd pound extra, it's something like £20 extra delivery, but there's £6.40 sales tax. And what they did there was £80 plus £4.20, £84, plus £6.40 makes £9.60, £90.60. There you go, £90.60. That's the turnover of the sale. The turnover of the sale is what you pay commission on. I'm paying commission on his sales tax. But they immediately take the sales tax off me, because obviously it's not mine, it's tax. It's American tax. I don't know whether eBay even pays it. I think they do. But I've paid the transaction fees on the £90.60, not the £84.20. Yeah. I paid my 9.9% plus my 0.35% plus my 1.8% international transaction fee on the £90.60. So when somebody offers you stuff, don't forget this was up for £100. And I took an offer of 80. And if I'd known it was going to be an international sale, you've got to really carefully look at the postcode of the person. When an offer comes in, scroll down, don't just press yes. That's why I did mistakenly. Scroll down, and if it says it's an international sale, or if it says it's going by GSP or anything like that, or if it doesn't have the postcode, the UK postcode, in the offer, you could always ask when you reject it and say, look, I'm going to have to ask for more than that because it's an international sale and it's going to cost me X amount more. It's cost me £6.40 and 1.8% of my turnover on the sale. Yeah. So instead of being, I don't know, whatever that is, 9.9% of £80, £8 plus 9.9% of £4.20, I don't know, 42p, £8.42 plus 30p plus promotion. Don't get me wrong, I understand there's all sorts of stuff there going on, but it comes to less than a tenner. I actually paid £14.56 in fees. Yeah. But I also paid £3.42 for postage, £3.45. So I came away with £66.19. But luckily, the whole lot, including all the other stuff I've sold or I'm selling, came to 15. So, you know, I thank my blessings, I count my blessings. I've made 50 quid on the whole bundle up to now at this stage of the week. But it could have been that much more. It could have been 60 quid profit. £7.60, bringing me back down to earth. 3 blank tapes for £7.69 delivered. Yeah. So I didn't make much on that, but they cost me something like 50p. Yeah. Actually, I believe this was one of the 3 things that I paid. No, it's not. I was going to say it's 3 things I paid £1 for, but that was a videotape, not this. I'll have paid £1 for these. So I've probably made a couple of quid at the most out the outside. Here's the battery from that charger. And I told you the charger had been bought by somebody and then cancelled. Do you know what? Exactly the same happened to this. Somebody bought it at full price. Then they cancelled. The full price was £48 plus delivery. If I'd known that the 2 added together was going to come to over 70 quid or 60 quid at the final figure, I wouldn't have knocked the guy down from a tenner to £8, because I did. I knocked him down from a tenner to £8. But it's not about margins on that stage. It's about reduction of risk, because batteries sometimes don't work or don't charge up. As you can see, it's lit up nicely. That they don't light up on their own. You have to press the little light up button and then get your finger out of the picture immediately, and they last for about, I don't know, half a second, the lights, and then they go off again. But I charged it with the charger. The lights lit up, it worked great. Super. I give it a few hours, pressed it again, it all stayed up. So I know the battery's okay. It's not draining off and it's just the electronics. Sometimes that sort of thing can happen. So anyway, actually with Milwaukee, they probably don't. You know, it's a reliable firm. Lots of tradies use Milwaukee, as opposed to, say, for instance, DeWalt, which is basically plastic B&Q crap these days. All I can say. It's like Makita and Milwaukee are good firms. DeWalt is... Back when I was retailing tools, you'd go to trade shows and they'd have cutouts of various different firms. Plastic crap is what I'm all saying. And DeWalt now uses nylon bearings. Yeah, and cogs in the gearboxes. Whereas things like Makita, they actually probably do now. This was 15 years ago, they didn't. B&Q have always asked people to reduce their quality in order to sell them at a cheaper price. And so the DeWalts you get in places like B&Q and tool firms won't handle them anymore. It's as simple as that. They don't want you to know that. And the models that you buy from the tool firms, which have slightly different numbers, that cost another £100, another $100 or whatever, they're that much better. It's as simple as that. It really is. Anyway, yeah, £42.20. Originally it was £48, and then they cancelled, and then somebody else bought it on an offer. Now, I'm not saying I'm not saying there was any collusion going on. This sold within about 3 hours of me relisting it at the same price as it originally had, and they sent an offer because I think maybe they decided they didn't want to pay full price when they realised there was offers available on it. Anyway, a good price. Next, $159.98. This is the set that I bought off a Guy Fawkes 14. Yeah, £2 a book. There you go. Nicely done. I told you they were worth it. They're all first editions. The first one was a late first edition, not an early first edition, unfortunately. I think I could have probably got another 40 or 50 quid if it had been early first edition, because the book on its own, the first edition Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, they're selling for like 60, 70, 80 on their own. And these are incidental here. Those two are quite expensive. That's the one. Anyway, for the set, 160 quid delivered. It's 149.99 plus 9.99. Nice. And obviously, that's what boosted my sales up for the week. £5.50, Die Hard. This cost me £2. I made about, I don't know, 50p on it. But actually, it didn't cost me £2 because I had a bundle of stuff that this was originally listed as £2, and then I got a discount on 3 of them. So I got 3 of them for free. I paid, I think, £8 for like 6 games. So if you're splitting them out, it probably only cost me £1.30 and I probably made, I don't know, £1. This was nice. And yes, you may recognize this from earlier in the video. This is your guy. Blue is called. Blue from Mattel. Jurassic World Super Colossal Velociraptor. Anyway, he is super colossal as well. He's like 37 inches long. Yeah, I know. And he's going to go by Every, because Every takes things up to 1.2 meters long. 37 inches is just over a metre, I believe, or just a metre. Not the exact figure on that one. But yeah, he'd be going every properly packed later on this afternoon. While I'm selling this light stuff and the smaller stuff, I'm intending to make my daily sales cut-off time later, because I used to have it about 10 a.m. in the morning, and well, I still have it 10 a.m. in the morning, and that's because things sold after 10, I can wrap them all up and get them to the shop by 12, by 1 o'clock, by whenever it comes to pick up at the post office. But if I have it later in the day, more people are getting it sent the same day. And for this small electronic stuff, a day can make a lot of difference. Because let's face it, right? The fact that it's being sold in the UK for instant delivery, or rather, very fast delivery. I mean, with this, it'll go as a letter. So it could well be next day or the day after. But the post office is open until 5:30. So I can actually have my wrapping as I go during the listings, getting the stuff printed out as I'm listing. Yeah, fair enough. But then have a wrapping session in the afternoon rather than wrapping first thing in the morning. And that means I can have more same day dispatch sales, which is what I'm going to do for the small stuff. Same day dispatch. Not necessarily for the large stuff, because I can wrap them overnight if I get enough sales to make it worth my while coming in here overnight. That's beside the point. Currently, I don't. Today, I could have wrapped that guy yesterday, Blue, because actually, did he sell the first thing this morning? No, that was Saturday night. That's the last thing of the week. Anyway, £444.17 my sales for the week. All right with that. It's not as good as it could be. And by the way, once I start selling a lot more of these, this sort of thing is really going to boost up the turnover. But it's not going to boost up the margins, the profit margins much, because something like this might only make 20% of turnover. Don't forget, a lot of my stuff. Oh, this guy, didn't say, did I? This guy, £38.52. Obviously, there's going to be about £5 or £6 postage, plus wrapping materials. So we're talking about £8 or £9. Cost me £3.50 in the charity shop. Yeah. I saw it on the side. I'm like, that's big, isn't it? And I looked at the price and I'm like, no price on it. So I went over to the counter and said, how much is this? And she's like, well, about £3.50. And I'm like, you're all right then. Because I knew very well that anything this size isn't going to sell for £3.50. I didn't even look it up, but I was pleasantly surprised when I saw that we're like going for like 30 quid. Yeah, very pleased with that. I think there was a £6.95 delivery. I put 5 kilos on it. It's actually less than 2 kilos. But by the time it's wrapped in cardboard, properly wrapped, it's going to be well over 3 kilos. So it's the 5 kilo band. So I think it's £5.65 on every. It might be, I'll make sure it's under 1.25 kilos, meters long, and that'll be okay. But yeah, £3 that costs, so the good margin on that. But that's what I'm talking about. These, even though after all the postage and fees, we're still looking like 60-70%. That's not a very good example. That's not a very good example because it's like, I don't know, 80% of turnover profit. And that's probably, after fees and everything, probably 75% of turnover. That's only a very small amount of turnover. This is, what's that? About £45 profit on 90. So that's 50% of turnover. That's probably 30 or 40% of turnover. Actually, more than that. That's incidental. That's a good margin. That's incidental, and those, of course, are losses. So it's that whole fiasco of sending somebody a Rubik's Cube when they bought a hard drive converter. This would be about 25% margin, and that's quite a high margin for this sort of small stuff. There's people selling these, by the way, for a lot less than £8.64. I had this on promotion, and the intention is to promote that sort of thing quite heavily so that I won't make as much money, but I will get a lot of views, and that's the secret. And plus, of course, I just need to order another 5 of these if one runs out, which I've actually done. They haven't arrived yet. I've actually got 3 left, I think, maybe 4. Even with the mess up. Even with the mess up, I've got 4 left, I think. Because there was a decent margin on those, I bought those. But yeah, I'm not concerned too heavily about what the margin is on these. The idea is to drag them into your shop with them. Drag people into the shop with this sort of thing. And if you don't know, people who are interested in computers, they're also interested in computer games. Yeah. Right. I'll do pickups. I don't have them all here, so I'm going to stop, probably wrap this lot, and then I'll do the rest of the stuff. Maybe even take this down. There's no need for it during pickups. Yeah, I've got a couple of other things as far as that's concerned. The larger item listing that I've been doing the last couple of weeks is paying off. You know, the 30 odd pound one, the £160 one, the £40 batteries and stuff. I actually have 2 more large items to go out today, but I'll tell you about them next week. If you want to click the button below, the subscribe button, if you aren't already subscribed, come back next week, watch those. And maybe I'll charge the lights up better so it's not quite so dark. I will charge them up now for later on. Yeah, that's the answer, isn't it? Right, what's that saying? It's been 58 minutes. Bloody hell. The one thing about using my phone is it's all one file. If I use my big digital camera, it chops it up into files of 28 minutes long, which would have been only 2 files in this case, but I can just drop this straight into the editing software, any annotations needed, but I don't need to because I've put them on the pictures and the screen. Great, eh? Yeah, so this could go out as is, but I'm not going to. I'm going to stop it. I'll make my pickup video once I've wrapped the stuff. And you see, that's the thing. Also, if I'm doing it 3:30 in the afternoon as a cut-off period, my wrapping materials, my wrapping is going to be after that, and have to get them to the shop within that 2-hour period. I can actually continue all the way through doing both wrapping and listing at the same time, especially using my laptop, or running up and down the stairs, which is good exercise after all. You know, I'm still trying to lose weight. Right, this is, by the way, still lit. You get something like 10 hours battery use on the microphone, but if you drop it into the charger in between, which I'm going to do now, that's 70% full charge on this. I think you get something like 30 or 40 hours worth of charge using the battery charger. You don't need to charge the adapter because it's powered by the phone. You can actually put a USB-C charger into the side of the adapter for the microphone, and it charges the phone through the USB port that it's in. I don't need to do that. I can take it off because I'm going to take the microphone off and put it back in its box. Speak to you in a bit.
3 hours later.
I went to North Cave. It was packed, but there wasn't a great deal for me. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's that time of year and people have already got rid of all their electrical gear early on in the season. I don't know. I didn't see any digital cameras. I didn't see any DVD players or Blu-ray players. What did I see? Nothing that excited me. As I said to you before, I'm trying for either the higher priced items more expensive, larger items. A bit of an angle there. That's better, isn't it? You can see all the rubbish behind me. I don't know why. Normally I think it's because it's lower down and facing upwards. You only get to see down to here. And yeah, wider angle. I don't know what it is. I think it's because I'm using a different camera app. So you can get to see all the crap that's down there and all the crap that's down there, which you don't normally see. You don't normally see it like from chest upwards, don't you? Anyway, so yeah, it was a bit crap, quite honestly. So I went to Hull. Yeah, I didn't buy anything. There was no video games even. As I say to you, I think it's because I was a bit late. Because I've been playing video games and then I'd not slept. So I managed to get about 3 or 4 hours, maybe 3 hours. So the alarm went off at about 5:30 after me 3 hours, and I just turned over. So it was about 6:30 before I got up, and probably about 10 to 7 before I left the house, which means that's like an hour to an hour and 20 minutes longer than it should have been. I should have been there when people were arriving and unpacking, which is what normally happens. So I do pick better stuff then. The stuff that was there was okay for car boots, but it wasn't exciting me, so I left and went to Hull. So I did find some stuff in Hull. First thing I bought was some inks. This was a bit of a mistake, really. I shouldn't have paid as much, but the guy wanted £2 each for them. Canon Pixma inks. Now, Canon Pixma inks are probably about the cheapest actual branded inks. They're all sealed, all but that black one, and it's actually sealed inside. It's just broken. So they're classed as new with damaged boxes, but we've got magenta, cyan, yellow, and 2 blacks. There's a 5 and an 8, and I think that's the same as that one. And I paid a tenner for the 6. I should make some profit, but it won't be a great deal. Previously, I've bought things like this for 50p and sold them for like £12 or £13. Well, these don't sell anywhere near that much. Nowhere near. Maybe £4.50, £5, £5.99 delivered. That sort of money. If I sell them as a bundle, all good, all new, there's no sell-by dates on the Canons anymore because they're reliable, dead reliable, and they're all sealed in their sealed bags. I might get 20 quid delivered. So that's a bit of a fail when I spent a tenner on them, as nice looking as they could be because they're all crushed boxes. But I spent £10 on them, and maybe I'll make 8, maybe I'll make 10. Nothing special. I bought some video games. I came across this stall and I said to him, how much are your video games? And like 50p each, mate. And I'm like, I didn't even say, can I have them cheaper if I buy a few? Just like, fair enough, mate. So what did I get? I got Tomb Raider. These are all in good condition with their manuals, because I just went through his whole thing, and anything that was in good condition with a manual I bought. Saints Row 2. Yeah. Manual. Good disc. I haven't tested them yet, but I mean, they're pretty much of a muchness, you know. Fairly nice, clean discs looking like that. Gears of War 3. Resident Evil 5. Tomb Raider Underworld. Halo 4. I should have said Gears of War 3, Halo 4, Resident Evil 5. Never mind. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. I always have these. They're probably not really even worth 50p anymore. But when I bundle them up, you can get like £15 for 7 of the 7 Xbox 360 games of that generation. Or the same for the PS3. I was in the charity shop on Saturday, the tip shop, and I think I bought 6 Assassin's Creed games for £1 each, and a couple of other games. I paid 8 for 8 games. Now, obviously, I wouldn't pay 8 for 8 games, PS3 Assassin's Creed ones, at a car boot. But it's a charity shop, you know, fair enough. But for the games together, I think there was maybe 6 Assassin's Creed games together out of the 7. Yeah, fair enough. They're going to go as a bundle, and I'll probably get 15 quid for them. PGR 4. That's Project Gotham Racing 4. Unreal Tournament. This one and this one will pay for the rest. That's normally how I work on these things. These are 50p each, but they're probably not really even worth more than maybe £1.50 each, plus postage. They go on my multi-listing. These are the ones: Unreal Tournament 3 and Army of 2 40th Day, which is a sequel to Army of 2. Those two, they're about 8 quid each. And as I say, they were 50p each, but I got 11 for £5, so he did give me actually a bit of a discount in the end. The only issue is that case is broken, and I think there's one of the others have got a damaged case. Yeah, that one. That'll go in a green case. It doesn't matter. And I've got loads of cases to swap them out. So yeah, these two together, that one and that one, will probably make me, I don't know, 3-4 quid each, and that covers the rest of them for trickle out long term, unless I bundle them together, which is what I'm, you know, more and more tempted to do, and what I do on Vinted a lot. But we don't go into the sales on there currently. Then I thought I'd got them out. Oh, I did. I saw this on somebody's stall, and he had a load of cassettes like near it, and he's like, "Don't you want the cassettes?" I'm like, "No, I just want the box. How much is the box?" And he says 50p, and then he said, "I've got 2 more. There's this one and this one." Now they've got corrosion on the metal bits. It's not heavy, but a bit. And when you open this one, there's a bit of damage here and there. But he says you can have all 3 for £1. I'm like, okay then. Yeah, this one's got a flap, so you can go in there. There's a bit of schmutz. That's the word, isn't it? Schmutz. But it's okay for 50p, isn't it? And this one's actually got the this one's nice. That might be a tenner. It's got the partitions for 15 or 16 cassettes, and this is all clean and tidy. There's still a little bit of corrosion, nothing much on that one though. Here, there's some corrosion on that. That's rust, really. We won't call it rust, we'll call it corrosion. It's more sophisticated. So they were £1 for the 3. That's all right. But it's not the high expended items that I'm trying to buy now. The video games they're profitable, but the profit isn't huge for the amount of time it takes to process them. I got 2 controllers, PS3 one, which I've actually tried to plug in and charge, and the port's broken, which is annoying. I can fix it, but is it worth it? I mean, really, I paid £3 for the two. He wanted he wanted £2 each. No, he wanted a £5 for the two. Yeah. And then he went down to £4. I'm like, no, I'll give you three. This is a Power A plug-in for the Xbox 360, but it doesn't have his adapter. Now these adapters are about 60-70 pence from AliExpress. I bought 5. They're on the way. It's a breakaway cable adapter for an Xbox 360 to USB. Well, they do sell individually on eBay for about £3 delivered, maybe £2.99, £2.50 delivered, that type of thing. Nothing serious. But they're only 50-60p at AliExpress. Anyway, I bought 5. They're coming. This I might just strip it down and keep the battery for one of my others that are exactly the same go wrong. Or I might swap one which is exactly the same as this. It says P3 there. The case for a blue one. So I have a gold controller. Anyway, they cost, what did I say, £3 for the two. I bought some of these. I'm sure you've seen these before. You put your 2-pin plug in there, Euro 2-pin, or the 2-pin that you put into a shaver socket. You put it into that, and it converts it into a fused plug. And the plug sits there. You close it up, clamp it down, and screw it together, and it permanently becomes a UK plug. And somebody was selling these off. They had a bucket full, but I thought, I'm never going to get through a bucket full. I paid £1 for 6. Can't go wrong, really. Really useful if you've got 2-pin adapters for, say, a figure 8 cable, because they do have those for Euro stuff. And then there was the last thing I bought in Hull. Yeah, I was being selective. What is the point of me spending loads of money on little trash items? These, yeah, all right, it's a little trash item, but it's really going to come in handy at some point. Was this Bose Quiet Comfort headphones? Yeah, she wanted a tenner for this, but I had a look at it, and it's real nice. It's got all the bits. It's got the charging cables. It's got the adapter. It's got all the plug socket adapters for the charger, so it can go anywhere in Europe or America. That's the American plug. That's the Euro plug. And there's the UK, and I think that's Australia. Anyway, and there's a spare battery, which I have charged, and it is working. Then you get a nice box, and there's the charger that you can put the plug socket bit onto. Just slides onto there, connects up, and then you put the batteries in there to charge. And the headphones themselves, there you go, with their cables. It's a cable version, but it does have noise cancelling, or rather mostly noise cancelling. For instance, if I put a fan on, I tested them out in the front room. If I put the fan on, it cuts the decibels down by 3/4 of the sounds disappeared, but you can still hear a drone in the background. If you put the TV on, you can actually hear the talking, because it's a different type of sound, but a lot of the bass has disappeared, but you can still make out what they're saying. It does cancel a lot of the sound, but it doesn't cancel the waveform, so you can still hear things through it. Unless, of course, you're playing music, in which case it covers it up anyway. I tested it out, played stuff through the phone. It also has an adapter for plugging into hi-fi, or there's a double plug, and if you don't know, that's what they use on airlines, double plug. So you don't need to rent their headphones. Most airlines will actually sell you the headphones for a few pound. Anyway, this also comes with a spare battery, another battery, and those are rotten and sticky as anything. This isn't actually very good, and you can buy spare ones of this, but they're quite expensive. Look at that, black's already coming off me. These are falling apart, that sticky black stuff. That's, in fact, I noticed this afternoon where I was testing these, they fit lovely. Where I was testing these, there's black marks all over the floor. I've got hardwood, not hardwood, it's pretend hardwood flooring, you know, in the front room. And there's black marks all over, and I'm like, well, where's it come from? It's come from this stuff smeared on the surface, and I've stood in it and walked it about. So yeah, I'm gonna have to get the chemicals out and clean it off. Anyway, these come off. I've ordered some from AliExpress. They're about £7 or £8 in the UK. I think they're about £2 on AliExpress. And I was ordering other stuff anyway, so I've ordered them. But yeah, once that's done, there's people selling the actual sets, and they vary. A new set of this particular one, Quiet Comfort 3, can fetch 300 quid. A second-hand set in good condition, this is in excellent condition, apart from the cushions, which I will clean, obviously, and I've bought some new fresh ones. When they arrive, I'll fit it, I'll test it all again, I'll take some really nice photos. I'm hoping for maybe 60-70 quid. These batteries, this is the problem though. This thing, right, with the cushions on, sells for 60, 70, 80, maybe even 80, I don't know yet. These and the charger on its people have been selling them for like 38 quid. These sell for 18 quid. The charger and the two batteries together might go for 60, 70 quid. Why did I even buy the ear cuffs, the cushions? I could have sold those, put them in an envelope, and not sold the Quiet Comfort headphones. So I am going to try for more than that on this. And after all, it's already in a nice box, and somebody would be really pleased with that. Yeah. So that was £8, but I might get 80. Might. Be nice if I did. Once I paid the £2 odd for the headphone cushions. I've got the games, I've got the Euro plugs, the Pixma, box pant use staples. Oh yeah, can't use box of staples. I just run out of staples, and I'm like, oh, there's some staples there. So I bought a box, 50p. It's got plenty in for 50p, quite honestly. Rexel, it's just a box of staples. So my output, sorry, my spend, it was my output really, was £28.50. But my input's going to be maybe 80 on the Bose. The game controllers, probably 7 or 8. But I'm paying 60p for the adapter. Party with staples, we'll call that equipment. We'll put EQ in the box. The cassette cases, I'm going to put 10. I'm not sure exactly. The Pixma, I'm going to put £8 overall, so £18 turnover. I'm going to try for 20, but 18 is. It would be reasonable. It would be unreasonable of me not to accept an offer or send an offer of 10% less on a £20 item. And so if I'd made £8, that's okay. The Euro plugs equipment again, and the 360 games, let's say 20 profit. So that's what, 20, 38, 48, 56, maybe 130, maybe 135, something like that. From a £28 investment, it's not too bad, but it's not anything to write home about, is it? Not when like I can make 5, 3, 4, 5 on one of these, and I've got like a little box with like 8 of these in, and some of the others, we'll see. Some of the stuff I sent out today was 70 quid and it cost me 4. 40 quid, it cost me 6. Much better, you know. Them's the shakes. Some weeks you get something good and some weeks you don't. I'm not going to cry over it. I effed up earlier in the week, fixed it, and then did some good sales on stuff that I did buy previously. There is profit to be made. And obviously this is the one for me this week. It was nice to find that. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Speak to you later. Bye.